Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Rogue Agent Answers. My name is the Rogue Agent. Some people call me David Lewis, and every week I answer one of the many life insurance related questions that I've received from clients, from email subscribers on the daily email list, questions floated to me from across the interwebs, in the comments sections, which I know you're not supposed to read, or just interactions that I've had with people in real life over the past 20 years, which is a long time. And some of these questions I just scribbled down on scrap pieces of paper. Some of these are stuff I've written down on my phone. Some of it is on Post-it notes scattered all over the office. And every week I answer one of those questions. So if you'd like to ask your question, drop them in the comments section or join my email list for more life insurance tips and advice at monogenics.com. monegenics.com. Also, keep in mind that nothing in this podcast is or should be construed as financial investment, legal, or tax advice. In fact, nothing that I say in this podcast should be construed even as insurance advice, as I don't give individual advice blanket just across the internet unqualified to random strangers. So if you need any of that stuff, contact a licensed professional that you know, like, and trust, preferably someone licensed in your jurisdiction. And now for this week's question. What can I use my policy loan money for? Anything you want, actually. You don't have to tell the insurance company why you need the money. You just need to make a formal cash loan request and they just give you the money. If your cash loan request is, over a certain dollar amount, the insurance company might ask you to ask your agent or fill out a form. Some carriers, they set it at, they'll say if it's over 25,000, some it's over 50,000, some will let you go higher than that. As long as the loan request is a valid one and all of the paperwork or, a lot of times they're doing digital forms now. As long as those are received in good order by the insurance company, the loan is going to be processed. In good order, meaning, everything is filled out correctly, signed, all the stuff that you're supposed to do for the form is done correctly. You can't just turn in a form that's half completed or not completed all the way or completed incorrectly and expect to get the money. It has to be done. And all that's compliance stuff, it's legal stuff, liability, it just has to be done that way to have a paperwork trail. All right. So do I have to pay back my policy loans, and what happens if I don't? Well, you don't have to pay back. You don't have to repay policy loans. However, there's a caveat to this. If you don't repay your loans, interest will accumulate on the outstanding principal balance. And then at the end of the year, any unpaid interest gets added to the loan principal. So your loan principal is going to increase, is going to go up, and that's why some people have this criticism of like, oh, well, policy loans are compounding, right? Because if you don't pay them back, now you got a higher loan principal balance, and that higher loan principal is going to then start accruing interest. So it's if you don't pay off your loans, the loans get capitalized and become part of a new loan, and then that starts to earn, earn interest, but it starts to be charged interest, and that interest, if you don't pay that interest will then be capitalized and added to the loan. So in other words, if you don't repay your loans, they start to compound against you. So if you die with an outstanding loan balance, the insurance company is going to pay off the loan with some of the proceeds of the death benefit, and then whatever's left over gets paid to your beneficiaries. All right, what do we got here? What can I invest my cash values in? Can you recommend anything? Wow, this is opening a can of worms. Short answer is no, I cannot make specific investing recommendations. Nor would I really. I mean, even if I was set up to do that and I was running my business as a registered investment advisory. Some guys like doing that kind of stuff, and they think that they're helping their client. I have a different opinion about all that and how that's supposed to work, but I don't, and I generally speaking, I don't think that that's a really good model to be. People generally they want to be told what to do. They want to be given the answers. They don't want to think, and they want somebody to kind of do it for them. Do it for me, just tell me what to do. And it's not really even, I'd say it's an opinion. I guess I should for legal purposes, I say this is my opinion, but it doesn't even really work that way. Like if you try to just follow somebody's let's say recommendations and say like, oh, just tell me what to do and do it. Investing is not mechanical like that. It's not a if you were placing trades or buying and selling, there's certain parts of it that are mechanical. You log into a brokerage for your if you're doing active trading, you log into the brokerage firm's website, you open the little trading platform, and then you place your trades and stuff. There's a mechanical process in that. If you're doing more like of the quote so-called passive, it's not really passive, but you so-called passive investing, you can, you just going through and then like buying the funds that you want to buy or selling the funds that you want to sell. That's the mechanical part of it. But what people tend to think is like, oh, the mechanical part is just tell me what to invest in, like tell me what to buy, and then tell me, or maybe slightly more sophisticated, tell me what to buy and tell me when to sell, and tell me when to sell, right? So that I can make a bunch of money. And gosh, if it was that easy, I wish it was that easy. It's sort of like, you can't do that for the same reasons that you can't just throw a bunch of lumber down on the ground and then ask a carpenter, okay, now tell me where to put the nails. Just tell me where to put the walls up, how to put the walls up. Tell me where to put the nails and where to put the boards, and I'll build a house. And you know what? That's so freaking stupid. Like, it just doesn't work that way. It's like, why doesn't it work that way? Well, listen, I don't think there's enough time to explain to you why it doesn't work. You either kind of get it or you don't get it, right? It's a skill, okay? And it's a skill that you have to internalize. And if you don't internalize it, then you're not going to get it. And it doesn't matter what people tell you. They're not going to just feed you the answers. Even if somebody does, almost like cheating on a test, right? Just tell me what it's a multiple choice. Tell me what bubbles I need to fill in. Well, that doesn't help you at all. It's like you might get the letter grade of like an A, but you didn't earn the A. There are some people out there that will say like, oh, I don't care if I earned it or not. I just want the letter. Like, I don't care if I earn the money. I just want the money. Well, there's a problem in doing that too, is that if you all of a sudden have all this money and you're like, oh, I was quote unquote successful, right? Somebody fed me all the answers. Which this doesn't happen anyway, but somehow if it did happen, that your advisor somehow knew all of the stocks to buy and sell, all the mutual funds that you should be buying. Just buy this index fund. It doesn't matter if it's an index fund, by the way. Buy this stock or buy this mutual fund or buy this ETF or whatever it is, and then sell it at this moment in the future. You'll be fine. You're totally helpless. If you are that dependent on someone else for your financial survival, you are totally and completely helpless. And in the second that you run into a situation, your advisor's gone, he dies, that happens sometimes, or he retires and leaves the business, and the first second that you are left alone on your own to make a financial decision, you are stuck, and you're gonna be in big trouble trying to manage an amount of money that you don't know how to manage, because if in a sense it fell in your lap, you didn't really do anything for it. Somebody else was always giving you the answers and telling you what to do. But you basically have no clue what you're doing. That's a very dangerous position to be in. And yet this is fully compliant with the way the laws are written. You can, as an advisor, you can kind of get away with doing that. That's the financial planner model is tell people what to do and basically give them all the answers, and they don't have to think about anything, and that's it. And I could go off on another rant here. It hasn't worked. This is why you look at like the fidelity studies that have been done. The last one I think was in 2025, but the one before that was 2017. And there's other ones, that I think Morningstar has done them too. But they all look at the same thing, and they look at the data and they say, look, 25 million accounts, and only 2 or 3% of these people ever seem to accumulate more than $1 million inside their retirement account. It doesn't matter what the rate of return is. It doesn't matter what the options are in investing. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen, right? So even if it did work, it would be dangerous. But the fact of the matter is, it just doesn't work. Like, that model simply doesn't work. I mean, if the odds are against you that much, if your chances, well, you've got a 2 or 3% chance, right? That means basically it doesn't work. So, no, I can't make any recommendations. So what I can tell you is that you should invest in, if you're going to invest in stuff, you should invest in things that you feel comfortable with, that you're knowledgeable about, you have some experience with, and develop the skill, because it's a skill. Some of my clients invest some of their cash values into real estate, because that's where their skill and abilities lie. Some of my clients buy individual stocks. I've personally used policy loans to buy stocks in the past and trade options, stock options and stuff. I don't talk a lot about my investing activities, just because I don't want people getting the wrong idea about how this really works or what they should be doing. And I don't want to give people the wrong impression. I don't want it to be like, that may have them think that, that it's an implicit recommendation when it's not. Most people probably should not be doing what I'm doing. I also just don't want people copy trading me. It's a great way to lose money, especially if you don't know why I'm doing what I'm doing. And lastly, I don't want anything I write about or talk about or do videos about. I don't want any of that stuff. I just don't want any of it to be misconstrued. If I do happen to write something about investing, I don't want it to be misconstrued as investing advice, because I don't give investing advice. So I don't give advice and recommendations in the sense of like, hey, I think that you should do this, or you should buy this, or you should sell this, or you should hold on to this investment. I don't do that stuff. And I don't recommend people who do. That's just not, it's just my own, it's just kind of my own viewpoint on how, on the industry, I guess. But the long and short of it, short and long of it, I guess, or long and short of it, you should risk money. You should only be risking money that you're comfortable losing. And that goes doubly for money inside your life insurance policy. So, and secondly, you should risk money where you think it makes the most sense and where you think you can earn a return that exceeds the cost of the policy loan. Other than that, I don't have any hard and fast rules or advice. And so when you have enough capital built up in your life insurance policy, you'll very often find good opportunities just falling in your lap. And if you have trouble finding something that's good to invest in, well, that also tells you something about how much investment capital you really have relative to what the marketplace wants. So if you're saying, gosh, I really don't see any opportunities, that's probably a signal that you need to save more. Even if you think you already have enough, I already saved up a lot, you probably don't have enough. You probably haven't saved enough. You think you've saved enough, but people tend to underestimate how much is enough. People tend to think. I remember talking to somebody one time, and they asked me, well, how much should I have saved up in cash in reserve? And I said, you should probably 18 months of expenses. And that seems like a lot. Maybe I was thinking like 3 to 6 months. That's not enough. What we learned from 2020 when the economy was shut down, you needed what? About 18 months worth of expenses. And that's not just for that. I mean, that was really unusual circumstances, but what's not unusual is that if you get laid off, or if something happens in your life, financial catastrophes, a real financial catastrophe, average time to get back on your feet, find a new job, get your business back up and running again, is usually somewhere between 12 and 16 or 18 months, about a year to year and a half, somewhere in that range. That's what a real catastrophe is. A hiccup is like 3 to 6 months. something that is really life-changing, something that really bad happens, that can last a year, and you could be... people don't believe it until it actually happens to them. Oh my God, I can't believe I've been without a job for a year. I can't believe my business has been on the rocks for it's going on 8 months, 9 months, 10 months. What is going on? That's when people give up, and that's when you need to have that capital backing you up. So that's why I say at least 12 months and ideally 18. Anyway, that's my answers to those questions, and thank you for sending them, and keep sending them in, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, that's it for this week's question. If you'd like to add your question to the list, just drop them in the comment section or send me an email. And if you want more life insurance tips and advice, just head on over to monogenics.com, MONEGENIX.com, and sign up for my daily email list.